We're at the Vicky Cole Agency in Tribeca, top agency that represents freelance photographers, makeup artists, hairdressers. We're here with one of Vicky's top freelance people, Ezel. Hi, Ezel.
Hi, Dwight. How you doing?
You know, first time I met you, of course, it was a surprise, a little bit of a shock, and once I got over the initial shock, you know, I found you really fascinating. You know, the first night we talked, and you seemed to have a very clear idea of everything, and a little abstract, but a very unusual way of thinking. I think the first thing I want to talk about is, you know, kind of like how you got started.
Okay. I used to work with my uncle on Saturdays in a barber shop, you know, sweeping up hair and washing hair and occasionally doing a blow dry or two. So when I left school, I had like no education at all. I couldn't read or write. I couldn't read now, but I can't write too well. So I obviously couldn't do something which would incorporate I'd have to read or write. So hairdressing seemed an obvious choice. I mean, I had no idea what it could lead to. I mean, I didn't even realise that any of this existed at that point. So off I went. I decided to do women's hair. I thought it would be a bit more interesting. And anyways, then I went through working for everybody. I mean, you know, I worked for Leonard, Ricky Burns, John Frieda, Stafford Frieda, Shumi, Robert Labetta, the Ginger Group, Crimpers. I mean, either I walked out or they fired me, one of the two. but that was all right. It was a good learning process. And in the process, I realised that, you know, I started to understand that, yeah, I mean, one could go out on sessions. When I worked for Michael John, I used to go out with everybody, you know, just as an assistant at that point. In England, hairdressers generally have assistants on jobs, not like here, you know. But you know what the British hairdressers are like, they're pretty ostentatious. So after I pissed asked about in London for about a year, and I worked for Look Now, which is like a teenage magazine, and my friend Becky Bain, she like gave me the break. She would, you know, just use me all the time, and we used to do covers and shit and rip off like Peter Lindbergh and all that sort of crap. So I went to Paris with a book full of this magazine, which no one knew that it was like a teenage magazine. It looked great. And I also had a laminated portfolio, which, you know, the French are so lazy they'd never get that sort of shit together. So anyway, off I went. I went like Easter weekend, and I got over there, and I took my girlfriend with me because I was like petrified. You know, plus I couldn't speak a word of French. I mean, it's bad enough speaking English. So I got to Paris, and I saw this agent, and she seemed pretty interested. I mean, I wasn't so sure, but, you know, she seemed like, yeah, but you have to live in Paris. So I thought, oh, all right. I mean, I didn't have anything to lose. I thought I could just fly over there, do a few L covers, right? Stupid me. But I was fortunate enough to work with some of the best people in the world, and I got to work with Helmut Newton, which for me was, I suppose, the biggest goal in my life, anyways. Because in London, I would get, you know, French Bay and that bullshit, and I really admired his work, and I'd seen his books and everything. So I got to work with Helmut, and Guy Bourdin and Francois Lemay, just a lot of good people.
I think that people like to know what it's like to be freelance. You know?
Well, it's not really what one would imagine. People have this like over glamorized view of what our business actually consists of. I mean, in reality, it's just fucking hard work. I mean, and you have to deal with so much. I mean, generally, it's not bullshit. Yeah, it's bullshit. I mean, you just have to be able to deal with situations, with people. A lot of the time, you just have to be strong, opinionated. I mean, you know, people are always trying to, in this business, people try to shit on each other. That's basically the way it works. You know, it's like, people get insecure. It's like, oh, you know, who's fucked up on what? Who can we blame for this? So you have to be pretty opinionated, right? I mean, you can't let people take advantage of you, and that's what always happens. I mean, I have a style, a technique that I use. You know, basically hairdressing comes down to, like most things, it's a basic structure. You know, it's all your preparation. It's not. It's just, you know, you have a basic way of working, and then you do that, and then once you get out onto the set, you have some idea of where you're going to actually push it, because you really don't know until you get out there at that point. Actually, would be a lot easier for me, even if they got them all what to do. They get them dressed, but they could dress them all, go out on the set, take a Polaroid, then I can see. Also, you've got to deal with what the light does to the hair, what the whole concept is. See, a lot of people don't even get their concept together. See, people. It's like, at some point, you may go in and the makeup could be strong, so you play the hair down, or the makeup could be weak, not weak, but less, and then you play the hair up. You're just an element in creating the whole illusion.